Cool. So we are now live and recording on the BPM Method Podcast. I'm really, really excited to share two guys who we had a mastermind call, I think, 2-3 weeks ago. It might even be Black Friday. I think it was Black Friday.
Exactly.
And they were just showing, we're doing some things with rules and we're having great success. And the thing is, I'm a big fan of automations when they're done right. I think a lot of people misuse it, overuse it, and don't use it in the right way as well. So I think you guys, what you presented blew me away, because I don't see enough intelligence behind automations and rules, and doing it in a way that, what's the point of running automations and rules? I think it's to reduce your headache, but also improve decision making, because no one wants to sit at ads manager all day, especially when you're scaling and stressing. You've got so many other things to work on. So I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to share. So I'm Depesh Mandalia. I'm your host today and founder of the BPM Method. Before we get started, Emanuele, give us a quick intro into who you are.
Yeah, if you agree, Depesh. Okay, first question. We have exactly 1 hour, correct? Just for us to understand it.
Give or take.
Okay, so I start sharing, so maybe it is even easier for us to introduce.
Before you kind of go into the deck, just quick who you are, and okay, it's part of the deck, so we'll do
it.
It's
part
of the deck.
Awesome. So basically, you want to start, Daniel?
Okay, so maybe you can just jump one slide ahead.
If it works, nice.
All right, so I will just quickly introduce ourselves. So Emanuele Maragno, we are like running accounts together, and he's like a Facebook magician, right? He spent $10 million on Facebook ads alone in the last 3 years. And he's like a genius scaling brands to 7 and 8 figures with paid social, and especially internationally. And so he was able to help 50 plus brands to scale. And right now he's consulting big brands on how to expand like globally and especially like profitable business scaling. And from my side, I'm in the e-com space also like, I think like 6 or 7 years now. I generated multiple 7-figure revenues with my own e-commerce projects. I'm also helping 7 and 8 figure brands to grow with paid media. And one thing I'm actually pretty proud of is like I have the biggest podcast for e-commerce marketing in the German speaking region of Europe with like 50,000 subscribers. So this is like...
What's the name of the podcast?
Ecom Secrets.
Cool. Make sure people go and subscribe to that. I'm guessing it's all in German.
We have 1 episode in English right now.
Okay.
That's what we did together regarding these things. So
it will become more in English, yeah.
So should we add even, Daniel, how we met?
Yeah, actually, Depesh, thanks to you, we met. So Emanuele and I met through your mastermind. Like we met in February. We wanted to go to Italy to the mastermind, but then Corona hits. So we met there, and then we said, okay, let's meet in person, because we both live in the same city, which is Munich in Germany.
Oh, cool.
So we grabbed the burger, we talked, we nerded about Facebook ads. And yeah, to be honest, like thanks to you. So we get to know each other.
That's amazing.
Nice. I would say we can start talking a little bit of the spicy stuff.
And for those that are on the live, if you have questions, just fire them in the chat. We'll come back to those at the end as well.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit, like just a quick rundown what we did in November, because it was quite crazy, especially for us. So in November, we generated over $5 million in revenue, and we spent over $1 million on Facebook. And as you can see, we had like a lot of accounts at the same time. And today we actually want to pick like one of those accounts and make a case study out of it to show like the automated rules we did, like the strategy we're used. And I think this is like, helping you the most, like really seeing deep, like digging into what we did actually.
Yeah, obviously, if I can add, we are just a few people right now, and we were handling all these accounts in 2. So without the automations, it would have been impossible. Like the planning, obviously, and the automations, it would be impossible to handle all of them with a kind of peace of mind. For sure, we slept 2 hours per night, no matter what. But rather than that, it really, without thinking ahead how to reduce our manual work in the other accounts, it would have just been impossible.
How many more people do you think you would have needed if you weren't running automations?
a good
Honestly,
question.
I think even like with people, it would be impossible to reach this because there were just way too many ads and campaigns running. So, and I think for certain tasks, the machines are just better.
Yeah. And they don't sleep, right? They don't sleep. They don't need food. They don't need breaks.
And they check every 15 minutes.
Yes,
That's right.
And maybe something more to mention here. We like right now we work with a lot of freelancers, so we have a team of 8 people right now. But I would say the majority of work we did in the ad accounts, Emanuele and me.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we will talk about those topics today. So first, we will actually show you like how we scaled to 5 million in November with Facebook ads, and actually like how we use the BPM method structure plus advanced scaling techniques. And we give you a little nugget here because we found out how to dominate auctions while we hacking the CPM. And then we're leveraging, like we show you how to leverage the automated rules and especially business intelligence to scale even faster and also with higher profitability. And at the end of the presentation, we have even the reveal board rules like plug and play ready for you. So we give you the links to our strategy so you can use it in your account.
That's amazing. And also through RevealBot, I've got a 30% discount, which I'll share at the end of your presentation as well.
Yeah,
amazing.
That's important. Nice.
So let's talk about the case study. Emanuele?
Basically, this is the biggest account we are going to talk about today. It's a little bit of time that I was first working alone on this, and in the last 5 months with Daniel. Indeed, you can see the effect of the last months. The Daniel inputs were coming. So basically, this screenshot, regardless of the amount spent, for me, the important part to show is how somehow we were able, here we were doing some kind of scalings, even though they were higher. I don't know why the ads manager sometimes doesn't show the numbers. You will see it later. I was almost able to reach 35,000 euros a day. This Black Friday, we reached 65 with 2 accounts. So this was the end result of that on that scaling. So basically you can see here that it was stable and steady while we were buying cheap traffic. At a certain point, we opened the tabs completely and it stayed stable for 5 days. And
so 2 questions on this, really interestingly. So average revenue per purchase is basically average order value. And then you've got revenue per paying user, which is upsells, lifetime value.
Yeah.
What's the niche and kind of what was the average order value that you were aiming for?
Yeah, it was an e-commerce product for car owners.
So automotive, I would say.
Automotive.
Okay.
So the car industry. Good that you mentioned about the cost per order and because we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So basically, this was the month of November, as you can see. And this was, I would say, the spending that we were pushing in the month of, in the last days of November. It was mostly focalized in the last period. Here we wanted, just as an additional credit, we were running 2 ad accounts, one for safety as a backup, where we were spending I would say, 5% of the budget. Indeed, the peak of spending was in the 26th, and it was around 55 or 56, something like that. Correct, Daniel?
Yeah.
And here we wanted to show how we were kind of passing from 5, 6, 7K that per day, that it was the average, to first day, it was 35. Second day, the highest scaling day for us was 65, 60 in this ad account. Then I will mention the other because I know them by heart. Right now, we were going down to 55 in Black Friday for a specific reason, 55 November 28, around 45 in November 29, and the last day we were upscaling again. How we did all these ups and downs on budget and why the 26 was the highest scaling for us. Because we wanted to play with the CPM. Basically, we notice it as you, Depesh, taught a lot us. Facebook is a game of signals. So the better signals we give to the algorithm, the better he will reward us with quality traffic and cheaper CPM. So we were learning, even in the past, in this account, that when we were releasing good signals to the algo, he was rewarding us, collapsing the global CPM of the other account. So this was allowing us with the same budget to reach many more people globally. So indeed, if you see here, the 25th, the only thing that we did was a strong push in email marketing campaign, a broadcast, and activating all the retargeting audiences that we were warming up in all November and creating in all November. As a side note, to reactivate the warm and hot audiences, we were running, I think, something like 30,000 euros campaign, Daniel, something like that, correct?
Something like that, yeah.
And we were optimized for view content and add to cart because we were thinking we brought all these audiences with a purchase optimization, so the quality is good of these people. If we optimize for view content and add to cart, we pay less for the CPM, and we reach a broader audience. On the other side, we were reflecting, I think really at the beginning of November, or even like 1 week before with Daniel, what do we personally do? At the beginning of November, we know that we are waiting ourselves for the Black Friday to buy stuff. And even on Amazon, we are filling up the add to carts, just waiting for the day to buy everything with a discount, or we are viewing the product. So we were trying to say, okay, the same behavior that people are doing, like us, we have to bring on the platform. That's why we were using those optimizations. So as you can see, the first days, the 24th, the CPM was around 8. On the 25th, we opened the retargeting audiences with a strong push. We pushed the email marketing campaigns, and we opened, as you will see later, the tabs with the pull marketing channels. Basically, what we wanted to do is like bring the majority of warm and hot users that will convert. We know that they will convert because they were desiring the product. This will give a lot of signals to the view content, add to cart, and purchase in the pixel. And as a consequence, Facebook will drop the CPM. What we were even doing on the 25th, the only thing in acquisition that we were doing was testing creatives, testing which kind of messaging, which kind of images, and like which kind of psychological and emotional triggers were pushing the people to buy in acquisition. Obviously, what happened the day after, we were really able to exploit the CPM, and we knew that in Black Friday the CPM will have gone crazy. And from experience, the second day after the collapsing of a CPM, it is the best day to scale prospecting or cold audiences. So that's why here we opened completely as much as possible, and we hit the record day of this ad account, and even like our personal ad spending. We know, Depesh, that you went far above of that. Like for us was okay, already crazy. And we acquired a lot of new customers and like new people that were entering into the funnel in our prospecting and cold campaigns. Why we were pushing so hard? Because then in 27, 28, 29, and 30, we had prepared another micro funnel where we were reaching the same people with 3 other different messages about the benefits, about the urgency, about the scarcity in all the specific days. So as you can see later, just talking about the CPM and how we were handling that, 27, we started downscale a little bit. You don't see it, but it was lower than 26, the spending. Then 28, we were keeping it somehow stable. 29, downscaling a little bit. And 30, scaling up again because we had a new leverage that it was the scarcity. Like you can tell, Daniel, how we were playing with the creatives and the messaging.
Yeah, so basically we had really simple creatives at the end, like product on white, like the reason why the sale, Black Week. Then we had the offer, which I think it was like 25%. And then like So last chance, and we even had like a super ugly border around it, like yellow and red blinking to get their attention. And we also had like very nice designed ads and creatives, but the simple one, I would say the uglier one, they outperformed the designed ones. So yeah, big learning here.
And which market were you selling in?
This was still the automotive.
Sorry, the country. I mean, which country?
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, worldwide. Obviously, we had the 5 biggest countries where we were scaling for experience, but like all the retargeting and world audiences were worldwide. Yeah, and I would say, just talking about creatives and psychological triggers, at the end we were analyzing why something was working, and we found that, as Daniel was saying, the simplest ad with a red frame and with the product and the Black Week discount, plus 3 lines of copy where we were saying, don't miss out, with us, like there is this emoticon with a scary face, and below the scary face there was "ends today," and then below on the 3rd line there was "save X%." So it was hard to don't click just to discover what it was. Well, it was a big learning in terms of like overcomplicating the things, because obviously we tested it before, and like we were even overcomplicated the stuff in other ad accounts. So obviously, as you can see, just going back to the numbers, we were able to decrease the cost per purchase. And in the last day, that it was November 30, you can see how the CPM, even on scale, because we spent more, it was back again to much cheaper than in Black Friday day. Like there is a big difference of €2 that on scale with these budgets is a lot of people reached. Okay, here just a quick one. We were understanding, because we knew that the live numbers of new customer acquired and the numbers that we were seeing in the ads manager were somehow different, but for the late attribution, we were counting in the past how much we could spend on the live day to be sure that with the late attribution, we were able to be within profitable target. So we made this counting, and we were saying, if today we have a 50 cost per order, after 14 days cohort, we will have 37. So there will be a decrease of at least 25%. If you go even higher, we have a 30%. Then after we did all of this, this client had an amazing business intelligence structure that was allowing us to make really good correlations. We were saying, we were trying to understand how an email push was impacting in the CPM. So you can see here the Facebook CPM by hours and what was happening when we were launching an email campaign. With Daniel, we spent at least 2-3 hours analyzing where in the ad accounts the people were buying the most, in which times of the day, and obviously for each country, because US is different from, for example, UK or Germany. And after the first day, we were seeing this behavior. So we launched one email campaign here around midday, that it was obviously when people are in front of maybe the lunchtime, and we were seeing, okay, the CPM was collapsing. Then we were doing it again, and then we were doing another time again. And you can see the CPM, how high it was here, and how with an email campaign, we were pulling it down. So every time that we were doing that, we were obviously scaling prospecting because we were reaching more people.
How many people in the email list?
I think there were around 500,000 people.
Okay.
So it was, yes, a big,
sizable, yeah.
Yeah, a big size of
and
people.
I want to add something here, because this is like really important to see, to understand like this holistic approach, like not only Facebook ads, it's like the whole, like every channel. And especially with those email campaigns, and also like we had like push notifications and other warm traffic sources. You have like this uptrending, how do you say in English, like spiral. First you have like the email traffic itself, which is like already qualified and like warm and hot. And then you send all those all those beautiful like signals to the algorithm of Facebook, and Facebook is like watching to your store, and it's like, wow, a lot of things are happening here, a lot of people buying and converting. There has to be a good user experience. And this is like how we decrease the CPM even in prospecting, like on Black Friday.
That is really clever, really good. Because the thing is, I think now where Facebook is, and with the changes happening with tracking, attribution, and things like that, you have to work even harder on giving Facebook positive signals, because Facebook is going to have to rely on maybe less signals from the customers than they could before. So they need more signals from you as the advertiser on the website. So I think that's really, really clever.
Yeah, and amazing. Later, we were even trying to match the pull marketing, mostly Google ads, because every time that we push on Facebook aggressively, as we were doing here, we see an upside trend in searches. Mostly when we put some specific keywords in the copy, we try to match them in the pull marketing, because they will be the first one to be searched, not even only branded keywords. And below, you can see really how basically the blue was the Facebook amount in euro spend, so the Facebook push, and how the clicks on Google Ads campaign were like increasing accordingly. So it was like mind blowing for us.
And another important point there is, people struggle. The biggest thing that people struggle with when they start to scale is, where exactly are my sales coming from? Is it Facebook? Is it Google? Is it this? Is it that? And when you can see those correlations, it's not a case of where do I put more money in, it's just follow the path. So here, Facebook and Google are working together, so work on both of them.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, we were planning all of these email campaigns, but even not only that, I think, Daniel, you did a great job with the influencers and the affiliates, telling them to say, push on this time, because this will help Facebook a lot.
Yes. Basically we send a lot of like qualified clicks to the landing page and to the store at the same time. And this is like amazing for the Facebook algorithm, right?
Absolutely.
So obviously you can see here, this was the pull marketing channel. Just thinking about Google, we were in this time scaling Facebook on the other accounts, but on the other side, scaling Google as a collector. And you can see here, mostly for this kind of client, Facebook is the main discovery channel. So there are not a lot of high intent keywords. So Facebook is really opening up and Google collects them. All right.
Just a quick question on paid search. Do you know the rough split between brand and non-brand keyword searches?
Here is like 60-40. 40 is branded, okay. 60 is not branded, but we did a lot of testing saying, if we put this kind of keywords in the ad copy or in the videos of the Facebook ads, what are people searching on Google?
That's clever.
Clever. The result was that those keywords were increasing without the brand, because sometimes the brand is the last thing to enter in the mind. Mm-hmm. But like if I read something specific that is not already like in the mind of the users, they will remember that specific keywords. And
I will take this over. So based on what we knew from like the bigger client, we also applied for smaller client as well. And actually, I want to quickly talk about this account because this one was very special. It's in I would say like luxury luggage niche. So if you travel around with the airplane, you have like your suitcase and everything. So this year was pretty tough for this business, obviously, because of Corona. And we needed to sell out stock because this brand had like, I don't know how many products left on stock, like I think 1,500 or something. Yeah. And they needed to sell it out this year because of a specific reason. So we thought about, okay, how should we sell those products, especially now when nobody is like traveling with the airplanes. And what we did was, especially in November, we did like 3 flash sales. Like on the right, you see, obviously this is Black Friday, but actually we scaled even before Black Friday. Of course, also because the traffic was cheaper. But what you see here is that we basically leveraged the things we just mentioned with the email campaigns, the hot and warm traffic and everything at the same time for very short amounts of days. So in the first, we used the Singles Day as a reason for the sale, and it was like 2 or 3 days. And then the second sale, we just like did it again, and we scaled even higher. So on the first launch day, we did like 50K on this. And then actually on the Black Week, on Black Friday, we scaled down a little bit, but also we were like using the same exact like strategy.
Yeah, even because like we had almost sold out all the pieces needed to be sold out. One thing to mention, I think you, Depesh, talk a lot in the BPM that we followed, is like you need to test everything. And one of the main things that we found really valuable to test was the offer. For example, we were using in November 11 these kind of single days seasonal events, or like excuses, let's call their names, to test offers. So here we tested three landing pages with 3 different offers and design, and we found a winner. Obviously, when we wanted to scale, we scaled the winner here, and we got the great success. And here we just had to somehow change and modify the angle, aligning with Black Week, with the seasonal event, and we were selling out. With another client, I think we tested 5 offers, like BOGO offers, get one free, get 60% off. And at the end, we found that the winning one, that it was for a subscription business, was get one for free in the first month, was giving the highest profitability, even though it was not the cheapest discount. Mm-hmm. And we are still running that, just changing the message.
That's quite clever, because the thing is, it's about the perception and the value for the customer, not what is the cheapest necessarily. It's most valuable. So that's really, really good.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's go back to the to get to the big one. Basically, in day one, then you will see how the cost per new customer acquisition was changing. In day one, where we scaled to 65,000 euros, we were starting making predictions aligning the Facebook spend with the new customer acquisition by hours and the costs. So we were seeing in Facebook cost per order, as you Depesh were seeing correctly in the Facebook analytics. On the business intelligence, we were seeing the cost per new customer acquired, and we wanted to play on the cost per new customer acquired, because we know that those customers have a long lifetime value, like of 2 years, and the business wanted to be profitable of $10 or 10 euros in the front end. So that was our business KPIs to play. So we saw that if in the last 2-3 hours the Facebook cost per order is rising to 40-50, we risk to go outside the target. So we were managing the Facebook numbers that are counted so far with impressions, not conversions, with these KPIs, and making correlations. This allowed us to say how much we could scale, being confident that spending and seeing the Facebook numbers was okay. Then we developed a strategy based on when do we need to buy the impressions, because I think I never heard someone talking about that, and we discovered, and it was mind-blowing when we were seeing that. In Black Friday, it seems, or in Black Week, it seemed that there was a difference when we were buying the impression in the morning, for example, or at midday or at 6. And this made us think about that. That's totally normal. It is the human behavior. When someone wakes up in the morning at 7, maybe a little bit sleepy, and we are kind of addicted to pick up the phone to check the news, we don't have the attention span that we would have at midday, where we want to distress a little bit, and maybe having lunch, we want to just hang out a little bit on Facebook. So making the correlation between the average Facebook spend, the average cost per new customer acquired in the business intelligence, leaving out Facebook, and the number of buyers, like a new customer acquired per hour in the business intelligence, we developed this strategy based on hours, and obviously it was declinated in the different countries. So we noticed that from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., we couldn't spend more than 1,000 euros per hour. Otherwise, the CPO would have cost per order would have gone too high. The best moment was between 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., where the ideal was to spend 4,000 euros. Sometimes we went even to 6 because it was profitable. And then the other hours. So basically, this was the most important time in all the countries. So in US, we were having, for example, different campaigns because the time zones are all different.
How many days worth of data did you need to be able to see that kind of correlation?
This is the iteration you can see here.
Okay.
Basically, if you remember, in November 25th, we activated the warm and hot audiences plus the email campaigns and everything to decrease the CPM. Then in the 26th, we scaled on prospecting, the highest day. And it was the most expensive day as well. But we did that with confidence because the CPM was lower. And we knew that we were filling up the funnel again to retarget in the other days. In November 26th, we made the first correlation between the ad spend. Like at midnight, we had the first correlation. And we deployed on 27. So you can see how on scale the cost per new customer, this is like live, it's not Facebook. And the ROI was changing. Then we had 2 days of data. We did the second iteration and we were just spending on scale with higher profitability. Every day, every day we had this kind of graph that it was saying how the users, the new customers, these are users, but like in the business intelligence, for everyone who maybe doesn't know what is a business intelligence, is a tool to aggregate data and to make business decisions.
Which tool were you guys using?
Tableau,
yeah.
Quite complicated. Like when I saw how they were analyzing data, I said, okay, guys, that's crazy. Just give me what I need for the advertising, but is like crazy.
And the thing is, like Tableau and there's lots of other BI, business intelligence tools, they do need a business intelligence technician, developer, analyst, just to put this data together.
Yes.
But the insights, once you do that, are fascinating. I remember at a time when we were scaling our personalized books business like 5-6 years ago, we found correlations between the type of purchase and the correlation between people following our referral path and seeing how that referral path explodes in a local region, for example. And that only came through business intelligence. You can't get that anywhere else. Exactly. But you create new ideas and things beyond that. I'd argue that, unless you're above maybe 5 million a year in revenue, you're going to struggle with BI because it needs a lot of getting started. But if you're going to scale $5-10 million plus in revenue, you do need a BI tool.
Yeah. And we see, Daniel, we were applying a lot, even like where we didn't have that. Maybe with Shopify, we were trying to understand when people were buying. Is that correct? How we did it?
Totally, yeah. So right now we use like Excel sheets, and actually also like thanks to Nick Shackelford for this, how he like analyzing the past data. So like in our businesses, we are using the data of the last 60 days, for example, to see, okay, which days are the most profitable, which times are the most profitable for this specific account because of the buying like consumer behavior. And I think the key and like what we see here is to be able to really like read the data and understand the data and make better decision based on what you have. And this is like, it's incredible what this was.
Not only in the ads manager.
Yeah, not only in the ads manager, yeah.
Good. So this was an example of, for example, we consider US because we were doing that with the 5 major countries where we were scaling, how we were improving day by day with the correlations. So the gray line is like the day before, and the blue line was the current day, how we were doing hour by hour, how much a customer we were acquiring with the same amount of money. So, and obviously declinating that for all the other countries, we knew which campaigns and which countries we could scale higher on a specific day. Nice. So now we go to the spicy stuff.
So just before you start with automated rules, how much time did you spend on manual rules? Because this is one thing that I do want to make sure people understand is you can't just jump straight into Revealbot. You need to practice, and then once you know manually what works, then you can code it into Revealbot.
I think, and these are 2 warnings that I gave at the end, because we made, I would say, Daniel, both of us made quite a good amount of mistakes with rules, like wasting some money or cutting campaigns or like crashing entire ad accounts. So I think to work really well with rules, we need 3 pillars. First, a structured method really in our head, but even in the account, to really connect every dot with the rule. Second, full control of the KPIs, both in the ads manager and like of the business, because if we don't know which input to give the rule, like we are just gonna mess up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Second, we test one rule, mostly when it is advanced, one rules on one testing campaign to be sure that we analyze the behavior and we understand what is going on. So this is how we do that.
And you know what, I remember a few years ago when I was really getting into rules, I set one rule up because we were doing really well with the account. We knew, similar to you, on certain conditions we should scale up, and we're scaling every hour. So I set a rule up that said if CPA, cost per acquisition, is below my target, it's like $30, then bump the budget 100% and do it 100%. What I forgot to say is make sure there's at least one purchase, because also zero CPA, i.e. you've made 0 purchases, is also below $30. So this was scaling up, and I had, fortunately, a stop loss rule that said, you know, if it's spent over a certain amount without sales, then pulls it. And I looked in, I thought, how dumb was that? But the dumbness is me as a human. I'm giving the computer, the machine, the rules. It will just follow exactly what I say. It won't think, actually, are you sure you want to do that? There's none of that. So you have to really, really make sure. And I think using a test campaign, like you mentioned, is a really good idea. Make sure it does exactly as you want it to do, because otherwise it will do exactly as you tell it to do. And sometimes it's not the same.
Yeah. And like I would say that my biggest mistake is like when the rule was perfect, but I just forgot to change an and with an or, and they spent 1,000 euros. Boom.
Yep.
God, this is what happens.
Yeah, so basically start small with the rules.
Yes.
Small and easy.
Yeah.
So basically, this is the structure that we use in all our accounts. And as I think everyone can see, it really replicates the account structure that we started using with BPM. Mostly for Daniel is really structured. I'm a little bit crazy with names and so on. So for me, BPM really gave a tool to say, man, you must be ordered. Otherwise, all the other topics in the puzzle will not work. That's it. So basically here you can see how we're like every time that we start one new account, we start testing creatives, and then auditing, then we go to prospecting and scaling, and then we have all the other rules. Now we go a little bit quick because the time is flying. So I will show a few of them, and then I want to really make sure that I say this clear. Everyone must find out the KPIs of the account, because this is just a guideline that it is proven because we use it in like almost all the other accounts. But in every other account, we change something. We change the KPIs. We test them because this is like dangerous. So this is the first one that I suggest everyone to start with. We automate every time the testing of the creatives in all our accounts. It is the most time-consuming task for us to find the winners. This automates completely and saves money as well. So,
and I love you're using the emoji version with the winner, because when I don't know if you have the losers as well, but when you look at a report and you just see the trophy or the cross, and it's just so fast to see, right, these are ready now to scale up.
I don't have the cross. Good input.
We should edit.
Yeah.
So, okay, basically we can see here that we start with a rule that will activate the ads. We just push, for example, 50 ads that are turned off. And then we have one rule activated 3 at a time, and it is dynamic. Then we have one other that is cutting the losers based on funnel steps. Another that it is activating if some of them were cut too early, but like then there is late attribution. So we give all the testing cycle of impression that we decide. Another one that give the ads the second try because it could hit wrong audiences or a bad audience. And then one saying the winner. This was the first one that I started testing, just the basic one. So then we have the audience testing. It is much quicker and like shorter, and like in the warm hot existing, we just want to manage to don't manage the budget and the frequency. The rule should do that. So, and it does at midnight just to allocate the budget correctly. This is testing creatives. We'll go quick in some of them, so everyone can plug and play this one later. This is gonna start 3 new ads. So we can see the rule here is gonna apply as BPM naming convention teaches, called testing creatives. That's it. It will trigger in each campaign where we give these 3 keywords. Then we have the one that is gonna filter and find the winners. Basically, it is a multi-step check. After 750 impressions, there will be the first check on view content or cost per view content. If this test is passed, there will be a second one checking the add to carts. If this is passed at 1.5 thousand impressions, we go to the next one and we judge on the purchases. Obviously, this is based on these account KPIs. So if it is a high expensive product, this will not be enough to have 2 purchases. But
so one question that I imagine some people will have that are not maybe familiar with how we run the BPM method is, why look at impressions and not spend?
Because if we run the ad in Germany, for example, rather than UK or in US, the CPM is different. So exactly. I was testing it with the reach, but I think just to imagine the number of people reached, but it doesn't make really a lot of difference with these small budgets. But it is the cost of CPM. If we put just 10 euros or $10 in US with the cost of the CPM, it will reach, I don't know, 500 impressions.
Yeah, and then you cannot compare. You cannot say, okay, is it a good ad or a bad ad if it's not the same data.
Yeah. And on the other side, with this impression KPI or like rule, we don't need to create a new rule for each country that will increase the complexity of the machine and like of the management as well. And in any case, the rule will stop everything at 3,500 impression. Maybe there was just one sale. We don't want to keep going up. This is gonna restart the late attribution. So if it is within this impressions rate and it doesn't contain winner, it will restart and give us the 3,500 impressions. And this is the duplication. Super quick. I move forward because like this, I put even like for the viewers a quick description so they can understand.
And maybe
and also the replay will be up so they can grab the screenshot as well.
Yeah, yes. Maybe Depesh, maybe we can still like also like download the PDF from the presentation and share it in the group or something.
Good. Absolutely.
Yeah, we prepared a PDF to put in the comments so everyone then has the time.
Cool.
And again, if we find the winners as we want, we give for this account 2 purchases with this amount of impression was a winner based on the experience on the other account. We had the trophy as you were showing in the BPM. And what happens for us, this is out of mind the entire testing process. We push on Monday, I don't know, Daniel, 40, 50 new ads.
Yeah, so for all the agency owners, we have a person on board, and she is like just taking new creatives and the copy and creating like 40, 50 new ads, like on autopilot for us. And the machine is testing them. So we just go in and see, okay, there's a winner, and we scale it up.
Yeah. Now we go just this one about the testing audiences. Even this one is like for this account, it triggers with testing and audiences. And we do the first check at 5,000 impressions just because we want the audience to test at least more ads. And that in this account is around 3x the cost per acquisition. And then we say, are there any purchases? Yes. How much is the cost? If the cost is too high, above 75, 3x the CPA, cut it. Or if the audience has already shown 4 purchases with a cost of 30, for us is a winner, and we bring it in prospecting. Now we have a little bit of rules about prospecting and stability. I will move quick because again, these are the basics. And as you can see, there are ads, the stop loss for the ads, and the ad set. Here we go. Then the reactivation for the late attribution in the ad set and like even in the ads. Then we have a rule that it is comparing, and I think we will show that it is comparing the ads within the ad set and leaving only the best performing among all with a ranking. And then the upscale, super easy, every 3 days, and the Punisher method, we decrease the budget every 2 days.
So one question I think some people may have is, how does it impact things like the learning phase and stability with so many changes or potential changes?
From my side, I'm seeing more and more that when something keep too stable, the performance drops. I think that we are seeing, Daniel, maybe we are too direct on that. Every time that something goes out of the learning phase, like, or the learning is limited, or like it goes out, somehow the cost per acquisition or the cost per event that we want is higher. So we are judging on the final KPI that we want, like cost per purchase or cost per lead or cost per download, no matter what.
And you know what I will say is, when you are starting a new ad account and you're just starting to spend, then frequent changes have a bigger impact versus an established ad account with a strong data set at the pixel level. Then it's not such a big thing. Like, the learning phase is there to advise you and guide you, but I don't think it's there to tell you what to do. I think you have to react to how your account's performing.
I think we were seeing many times that some campaigns, even like, for example, the purchase optimization was not going out of the learning phase, but when we were moving to add to cart, we were going out, but we had less purchases. So what's the matter at the end? Our client wants more sales, not more add to carts. This is how we think.
Yep.
So this was the ranking. I just showed the ranking one. So basically, as you said, is correct. Basically, we applied all these prospecting rules when the account is established, and we found what really works, like the testing phases. As you can see, it is applied to cold prospecting, and this is going to check a specific number of ads. When it is below 2, we want just the best one to be there, the one with the highest ROAS. If for any reason we have less than 2, we usually put the tested ads with in the pause mode, and this rule will first check if there are better ones, and then if it doesn't find anything, it will activate 2 new ones that they were already tested. We finished the first introduction with the basic that we suggest everyone to start with. Now we go a little bit more crazy.
Cool.
So, okay, these are the naming convention that me and Daniel comes up when we have to test stuff. Basically, we think about the name and then we create an hashtag that will apply the keyword only to that campaigns.
And that's really useful, because I imagine searching for things in Ads Manager is just so much faster when it's like this.
Yes. Like if I learned, Daniel was already super good with that when we met, but I was really messed up with the names. If something that I learned with the first cookbook that I bought in, I think, December, was give a specific name that you can find the stuff easy.
Absolutely.
Even because this will not work. And like, as you will see later, the numbers of campaigns in this account was like massive. Like you were not able to scroll down without filtering. So going quick, here we have accelerated how to beat cap scaling, that it was applying to warm and hot audiences because they were big and we wanted to reach them as up. We had the same one for cold. Then we have the auto cost cap scaling for cold and for warm. And then we had one extreme one that we invented during the Black Friday with the ABO. And it was even like one of the most riskier ones.
So just on that topic, what was your split between campaign budget, optimization, and ad set budgets?
So basically, we wanted to use the stability with the CBOs and risk with the ABOs, because we knew that somehow. So if you ask, honestly say, if you ask me the split, I should have now go back to the ads manager and check, because I don't know. I need to be honest on that. We were seeing after the first day where we found the correlation that with ABO, we could push more in specific hours with more control.
Yeah.
And instead of adding a lot of campaigns and adding the budget vertically to the CBO to risk the campaign itself, with the ABO, we say, okay, we were like duplicating maybe 15 ad set with 1,000 euros, and we had 15,000 euros more. So it was more manageable, kind of. And even because we invented a rule to check the best performing ad set that you will see later. So I will explain just super quick three of them. And again, guys, play safe before start using this. Like this was on cold, accelerated auto-bid cap scaling. As you can see, there were all the stop. We started with the stop loss rules first in the ads, in the ad set, and in the campaign. So CPA of the campaign of the ads above 40 kill the ads. CPA of the ad set above 60 kill the ad set. Sorry, I was checking out the wrong ones. Stop loss campaign. If the campaign with this acceleration that can really spend, the campaign had a 30,000 euros budget, by the way, so it can really burn money quickly. If it spends more than 300 euros, stop the campaign. Then the most important rules, and
just in terms of 300, was that, how did you choose that? Was it like 10% of, it's not even, no, so it's like 1% of the total budget, or was there a different reason?
Well, for my side, like for our side, it was around 6 times the CPA, correct, Daniel? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
We were saying in the ads, in the ads, we want to really be picky. In the ad set, we go a little bit higher, potentially 2x. In the campaigns, we go 6x. Does it make sense to you, Depesh? We won't even hear.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Nice. So we will explore this rule and this one, that they are still simple. There are other guys doing even better. For us, the simplicity was working. So as you can see, what is acceleration for the people who doesn't know that? It's like having a Ferrari that is Facebook, as you make always the comparison, Depesh, with the full speed pedal down and the handbrake pulled down. This way, we have kind of the Ferrari that is there just ready to crash it, but we are just giving time to it step by step to start making the first meters. If we don't give the time, like the first meters, like impressions, it will not sell. It will not start running. If we give too much, it will crash.
Yeah.
So
and I think just to add to that, with Accelerate Delivery, test it manually for at least a week before you even consider rules, because like you mentioned, the handbrake is off in terms of budget management. So Facebook had the pacing algorithm. The pacing algorithm says that 24 hours in a day, this is the budget, this is how we're going to use it. You basically override that and say, here's the budget, just spend it as fast as you can. And there's many good occasions to use it, like sales, like lead generation for events and things like that. But done wrong, you can lose money very quickly.
Yeah. we lost money as well before learning how to do that. I think everyone a little bit playing with this rule before really understanding the bidding strategy behind, because you need to understand the bidding before the rule is burning a little bit of money, or investing. Let's call investing money in the buying data. So basically here, what we were doing, we were saying this campaign with a lot of budget, 30,000 euros, we are saying Facebook, we want to spend a lot of money. With some winning ad sets, obviously already tested. We started with a bid of half the CPA, and we were saying, hey, reveal bot, every 2 hours, give it a check after the ad set was created. Give it a check, and if the previous hours the spend was less than 10 euros, push it up by 10%. Then wait other 2 hours. If it didn't spend again 10 euros, give it other 10%. But if he started spending a little bit, between a little bit more than 10, but below 300, give 5% more. If then it started spending per hour, but it was not really exploding and exhausting all the audiences, like spending less than 1,000 euros per hour, give 2.5%. And add a name just to know for us when we were entering the bid value that we were reaching. As you can see on the right, we were running it from 6 a.m. every 30 minutes till 9 p.m. Above that, it didn't make sense in the night to use this rule. This was kind of automating the bidding. On the other side, we had the day after a new rule decreasing the bid by 20% in all the ad set at 2 a.m. Because I think that we discussed even with you during Black Friday, during the call, the day after could be that the auctions are different. Maybe Coca-Cola is not spending, so we could burn the money with the same bidding, or we could potentially outbid, like spend too much, just even alone. So we were decreasing 20% and not to the beginning, just to don't lose time and the hours, just to pull it back again. Okay. So we go to the second one. This we ran both in cold and warm, and was the auto cost cap scaling. This was an amazing idea from Daniel to outbid the competition, basically.
I remember we had like a 4,000 euro bid on one campaign, or like some ad sets, I remember.
Yeah. So on this one, we were like, it has a different meaning. With this, you don't spend as much as possible in the hour. You want to just be on top, on the first position in the newsfeed of the user. So we set up a budget of 10,000 euros in that campaign, even because we had a lot of warm and hot audiences worldwide. And what we were saying, always the stop loss rules that were all applied. On the other side, being a cost cap campaign, the bid must be handled in another way. If we go 10%, it's too slow to start winning the auction. So we will expand these two rules. We were having every 3 hours, every 2 hours, increase the cost cap bid by 50% if it's not spending. If it is spending, and like we are not spending at least 200 euros per hours, push it up 25%, much different from the 5% of the accelerated before. If then is spending below 500%, and obviously we were checking the cost per purchase as a KPI, we are not just spending casually. If it is spending below than 500, push 12.5% every 2 hours. With this, we really outbid the competition in all the auctions that we were seeing in the, and this doesn't mean that when the bid was 1,000 or like even more, we were spending more to acquire the customer. We were just telling Facebook, we are willing to spend the most because we know that we can acquire the customer. This was helping us a lot. Day after, we were decreasing at 2 a.m. much more, 50%, because being the bid much higher in terms of percentages, we wanted to pull it down. Last one that we talk about, it was a hybrid that we found during Black Friday in day one. We were using ABO, and this, we needed to spend as much as possible in those specific hours. So acceleration was helping, cost cap was helping, but somehow it was not enough. Like we wanted to exploit more and more the moment. So again, I don't talk about the stop loss in the ads, in the ad set, in the campaigns. I will talk mostly in this one. If you see the hashtag, they are always kind of reflecting ABO hourly scaling stream, ABO HSE, just to have a correlation. So we were launching some ABOs campaigns with high budget and duplicating them manually to have a little bit of more control. And we can see here, if the ad set was really performing well, we were checking the last 6 hours to make sure that it was still selling. And if these KPIs of CPA target were met, we were bumping the budget 30% every 3 hours. So vertical scaling. And these were the times where we were checking, always during the daytime. Then this was the ranking of the ad set. At a certain point, we found that we had, how many ads had done? 30 or 40 within the campaign, something like that.
Something like that.
And we're saying, what are the most profitable? Like, which ones should we really keep? And this rule was telling us check if there are more than 4 ad set, and they were activated 6 hours ago at least, just to give the impression. Check if there are no purchases, kill them. If there is more than one purchase, just leave the best 4 among all. So even if maybe they were all within the boundaries, we wanted the best 4 for the profitability. And this is the main difference that we want even to highlight for Revealbot, that we love it. The rules
and this is a good example of making sure you understand the and or rules as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again, we're testing one super small campaign. We made the first mistake, and then we developed the rule. I think we were there more than 1 hour to create this rule.
Yeah.
But then it was automated. So, and yeah, it was checking every 50 minutes. And the last one in these campaigns, it was checking the ads. And again, it was keeping only the 3 most performant one. So even though maybe there were 5, 6 that were selling within the CPA target, we wanted the cheapest on scale. So this was keeping the 3 best performant. Again, what is the results of this, and why without the rules and automations we could not do that? Obviously, the account was a little bit complicated at the end, but in those 6 days, we had 86 campaigns running, 600 ad set, and more than 4,600 ads. A human could never do that, like not even 10 people alone. And this like where we say automations are our salvation to do these kind of things. And yeah, we have 2 big warnings for people. We love rules. We apply all of them. We feel we are even kind of good at that. On the other side, the first one is like, don't play with automated rules if you're not already experienced with basic rules, manual biddings, and or fast scaling techniques. Usually, when we try to teach other people, we try to automate the testing, because at the end of the day, is the most, time-consuming task to find what works. When you automate that, you have just a small risk. There is almost no risk. And you have already automated, I think, 30-40% of the accounts management. The second one is like, test one new rule in only one campaign first, then monitor the rules, action, and triggers over a period of 2-3 days. If everything's fine, extend 2 more campaigns and increase complexity, but keep it easy. And this will be something coming soon, that we are in direct contact with Reveal, but we are saying mostly, I want to mention 2 really good Italian advertisers that was pushing it at me a lot, like Alessandro Gargiulo and Marco Bigaton. They were saying how the conversions, like if we judge with Supermetrics, we can judge on conversions and not attribution and not impression, how this was helping scaling higher or having more profitability. And we were all asking together, like me and Daniel with the Revealbot team, can you implement that? Because having that only in Supermetrics or in the business intelligence is a little bit limiting. And this will come soon. It was the first beta screens that we had. So basically this will say, if today there were conversions, not just impressions sales, the rule will apply.
And just to kind of expand on that, I don't know how many people understand how Facebook actually attributes the sale. But for example, this is why some people say, look, my Shopify shows 50 sales, but Facebook only today shows 40 or 45. It's because maybe the click was yesterday or the day before. And that's where Facebook's now attributed it based on how you set up your attributions. So if therefore you're applying rules then you might not see the actual sales that are coming through because Facebook isn't attributing it today. So this is really, really important.
Yeah. I think, Daniel, you were the first one 3 months ago telling me, hey, look how many sales we are having today and we are decreasing the budget. And you were telling me, don't decrease it.
Yeah, I try to always explain it like the buying process is not really linear. You like most of the time you don't see an ad and you immediately buy it. It's more like you see an ad, you click, then the next day maybe you see retargeting, you opt into the newsletter, and then 3 days you Google it. And if I buy on day 5, I don't see it on day 5. I see it on day 1 or day 0 actually on Facebook. So this is like, if you understood this, then you look in a like with different eyes on your campaigns.
Yeah, the holistic. And if you think, Depesh, it was the same in the past when restaurants were without online were pushing flyers in day 1, and maybe clients were coming after 1 week. So
that's a good analogy. Absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
We have finished. Here, then we will share the slides, and we have just a few links to us. And here, first of all, Deepesh, you were mentioning your really strong collaboration with RevealBot in terms of like pushing this kind of stuff as you are doing with the BPM. And we will get the links where we say we are just collecting a little bit of emails of people who liked in the next weeks or like days us to send the rules that we just showed them. So we will share the strategies in the next days, not today. We still have to prepare them in a good manner.
And you know, just to say, like, there are other tools out there aside from RevealBot that do bid management, rules management, etc. Personally, I've tested probably 5 different platforms. I was one of the very first users of Reveal, and I've not seen a reason to leave yet. They're just so responsive, and the tool, they had a massive upgrade recently, and the user experience is far better now. And I think that's something for people to test. Like, we're not saying you have to use RevealBot. Certainly for me and for you guys, it's been kind of the difference, I think. And some people still can use Facebook's built-in rules management, but for some reason, through the API, which is what tools like RevealBot use, you can check rules every 15 minutes, but when you use Facebook's own platform, it checks every 30 minutes. Like, that alone is, I don't understand why they wouldn't do that better, but there's far more benefits. Like, one of the things I love to do with RevealBot is certain rules. We set up a Slack channel for automations, alerts, and scaling, so that we can, you know, when all these rules are going on, you want to kind of have some visibility of what's going on, and we can go into those Slack channels per ad account and actually see what's going on. Even that alone helps your whole workflow. I really like that you included the testing part of it, because that automation saves so much time, and it means that you don't actually need a media buyer looking at any of the testing. Just put the create the ads, like you said, and you know, there's always ways you can iterate ads. I don't think you should ever run out of ideas. There's always, you can tweak the copy, the creative, the thumbnail, etc. Push that into your testing machine, let the machine test it and give you the data, and then you interpret it or let the rules interpret it. So I think there's so many advantages once you get to that kind of advanced stage of understanding media buying, and then reducing the human time and just letting the machines do what machines are good at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So there is a code I have from RevealBot. If people want to take advantage of it, it's 30% discount for the first 6 months, which I think is pretty cool. The code's depeshmastermind. I'll share it in the comments as well. You don't have to use that. We obviously get an affiliate kickback for that. But you know, that's, if you do choose to give it a test, even if you just test it for 30 days and see if that's going to work for you, I think that's definitely worth doing as well.
I think that I used in the past the one that you pushed in the BPM. So
cool.
it was nice.
Yeah,
and for the people who would like to have the same rules, just click on the link. It will be a Google form where then we didn't prepare it, like we didn't have really time to prepare everything for today. We want to really to explain everything clear. So if you want, we are going to share with them, with everyone. And again, apply with cautions.
Yes.
Like
and you know, moving on from this point, so you know, it's amazing to see through Q4. How would you adapt these rules now for Q1, Q2, etc.? Are you being less aggressive, or still kind of going with whatever the data says you should do?
I think you said the right thing. Like we follow the data. Of course, like all the basic rules we still apply, like audience testing, creative testing. But if there is a good momentum and a good possibility to scale, of course, we use the rules we just showed. And
maybe we adapt to the KPIs. I mean, for example, all the scaling rules of acceleration and cost cap in another moment will have different numbers. It is the thinking will be the same because like it adapts the algorithm with the bidding with the results that we want. The KPIs must be found in each specific account and business. So without that, it's even hard to advertise, regardless the rules, I would say.
And regarding the rules, like, are you the person, Emanuele, setting up the rules, or have you now trained your team or somebody in the team to do that?
Usually in Black Friday, where me and Daniel brainstorming together because 4 eyes, they were always better than 2. Now we are in the process of trying to train someone. It's not easy because, again, the rules is just what you see. It's the thinking behind the rules that collects all the experience.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if you, Depesh, or just Daniel says, Facebook is an art and a science that you must build on marketing foundations.
Yeah.
This is why the rules, you need to think about that and to see what is happening. And if the inputs you are giving to the rule is what you wanted. So definitely we want to train people on that. It's not super easy because this is coming from trial and errors. But as we learn that, everyone can learn it, I would say.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'm trying to get people to move away from is calling themselves Facebook media buyers, because media buying is the most simplest part of Facebook advertising. You're a Facebook marketer or a Facebook advertiser, because that's where, as a human, you will still beat the machines because you understand the client, the context, the average order values, the plan, and everything like that. And then you bring that into, exactly as you said, the art. The art is, who is my avatar? What are their needs? What are their beliefs? What are their barriers? All that kind of stuff. And then building that into an ad campaign, right? How do I now do the creative, like create this red thing around the ad? Like a machine wouldn't necessarily think about that, at least not right now. So that's your advantage. And then pushing it into this machine, put the rules in there, let Facebook do the media buying for you, and then adapt to the data. And I think it's not complicated. I don't think Facebook advertising is complicated. It just takes time to learn and then takes time to kind of master.
Yeah, at the end, I think, and I want you to give credit to Daniel about that. I love numbers. I love like scaling all this kind of stuff. I'm much more into the ads manager. But when we started working together, Daniel's background is mostly about more holistic and like marketing and angles, triggers, psychology. And when we are combining that, we see that Facebook is just an amplification of your message.
Yeah.
All the rest, for example, the offer, like we did all what we did in November, like those 5 million revenue with crazy offers. We tested them based on what people wanted with the right messaging. Without that, Facebook would have not worked. And like, even in terms of funneling, I think we were even trying to tweak the landing pages to make some specific actions for the user, like which kind of bundle do we want the user to buy to increase the profitability of the business, even though we are playing with a strong discount upfront. And what we saw is like, even though we played hard with discounts and like offers, the AOV of more or less all of our clients didn't decrease. So this is marketing.
Yeah, it's exactly what you say. Yeah, I mean, at the end, like this was like super advanced. All those automations, they won't work if you don't have the basics right. The avatar, the audience, like the angle, the offer, everything. So yeah, thanks for the credit.
And that's a great angle into the BPM method, because that's everything I put together into that was based on, you know, so the reason I created the BPM method is because I wanted some training for my team. I didn't want to sit there giving them one-to-one. I went and looked at Facebook ads training on the marketplace and blueprint from Facebook. I couldn't find anything that didn't talk so much about Facebook, but talk about marketing. And you know, for me, that was the biggest differentiator for BPM, brand driven performance marketing, was understand the brand part, not logos and colors and things like that, but avatars and needs and human behavior. Like I've studied behavioral psychology, so I really understand how the brain works and kind of how people react to different messages, and you know, how people think with their heart first. When they think with their heart, then they're more likely to buy, and then you trigger the brain. So yeah, I mean, head over to bpmmethod.com if we can help you to get you better at marketing and advertising. That's really the path, I think, to mastering things. And it's not just Facebook. Like now that you have the skills for building avatars and messages and stuff, it works across so many different platforms as well. So just on that note, before we finish, if people want to reach out, if they want advice on roles, or they want you to run their ads, what's the best routes to get in touch?
I think the ones you see here. So to be honest, we run this agency since July, and we don't even have a proper website. So if you want to be in contact with us, like just you see the links like LinkedIn, Instagram. You could also like listen to the podcast, and those are the ways to find us. And if you have any questions, just ask. Yeah,
I think Depesh, we were telling you in that call that we were not expecting this massive growth.
Yeah.
So we're thinking, okay, we don't have the time for the website now. I'm still running my Gmail. Do you believe it? So
absolutely. Hey, listen, I've been running my agency now since 2017. Depending on when people are watching this video, we still haven't updated our website from like 2-3 years. We don't have time. Like you're so busy with inbound inquiries and your work and your case studies and things. I would argue that if a newer agency have a really, really, really good looking website, they're probably not that busy. Like that's just something I've noticed. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that.
All nice. One last thing that I want to add personally about the BPM is everything that you were saying about rules is something that we can replicate between the other accounts. This is the most time saving and like peace of mind stuff, because at the end, one of the struggle that I always had was naming conventions. And like naming conventions, yes, it's good for the ads manager, but now that we are automating a lot of stuff, all the rules are based on that. So when we share the rules between the other accounts, we plug and play. Something that before I was, okay, change this, but be careful because it will not work. So my main thank you for you, Depesh. Obviously, it is first that you allowed me to meet Daniel. But second, you changed my way of working with a structure in the other accounts, and now even with the rules. So
amazing. Well, listen, guys, you've been amazing on this. The effort to put the presentation together and share so much as well. So really appreciate you sharing that from everyone that's been watching as well. There's loads of thanks that have come in as well. So looking forward to seeing your success, and we take this next. So yeah, appreciate it. And thanks guys for joining the live. If you're on the replay, obviously you can add comments below depending on.
We will put even the PDF below so people can follow, maybe can print and whatever.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much. Thanks guys.
Thanks
Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Adios.